Today I'm going to be doing the Cozy Christmas book tag. I found this tag on the original creators channel, which is Call Me After Coffee. I don't think I've done this tag before, but if I have, I can't remember doing so, my answers are hopefully going to be quite fresh. There are 8 questions in total. They are all book related, so let's get started. If you can hear my cat having a wild time next to me, then just ignore. Enjoy the sounds of a very happy kitten. The first question is, what is the most beautiful book that you own? And for this I have 4 books because I couldn't choose between them. The first book is one that I bought from eBay, and the edition is, I think this is Fairy Loot, and it is absolutely stunning. So this book is The Scarlet Alchemist. You can sort of see the shine there, but the cover isn't even the best part. You've got the sprayed edges here, and you've got end papers which are absolutely beautiful. Underneath you've also got this foiled hardback situation, and I just think it's stunning, so I wanted to include this. It's not a massively popular book from what I can tell, so I also thought I'd tell you what it's about because you may not have heard of it. Well, it's about alchemy, which I guess you could have guessed. It says here that the principal rule of alchemy is that you cannot create good without also creating evil. Xylan, the main character, I assume, dreams of becoming a royal alchemist, escaping her impoverished village in southern China to make alchemical gold for the wealthy, so that they can stay young forever. But for now, she scrapes a living practicing an illegal form of alchemy, resurrecting the dead for a price. Xylan is offered the chance to travel to the capital and complete the imperial exams, so she has to partake in a series of dangerous tasks. And then the crown prince seeks her out because there may or may not be an assassination attempt. So I think this one sounds really good. It's one that I definitely want to read soonish. I may have already read it by the time you're watching this video, we will see. I think it sounds absolutely fantastic, so that's why I wanted to feature this one, because it's beautiful but also sounds really good. I've also picked editions of books from 2 of my favourite authors, 3 of them really, but the first one is The Adventures of Amina Al-Sarafi by S.A. Shannon Chakraborty. This is the UK Fairy Loot Waterstones edition. I don't actually know what edition this is, but I think it's beautiful. It's got the foil, it's got the edges, it's also got a shiny map. And then what I also enjoy is on the other side, you can see the cat, and the cat is one of my favourite characters in this book. So this is also on my list of favourite most beautiful books on my shelf. I also have the Illumicrate edition of The Galaxy and the Ground Within. I love all of these books, or editions of books in this series, but I only own 2 of them. I own this and A Closed and Common Orbit. I'm still looking for the other 2. It's a hardback, obviously, there's no dust jacket. The font is shiny, it's got sparkly dots all over it. The edges are sprayed. It's an absolutely stunning edition, and I would really like to get my hands on the other 2 books because I love this series so much and I love Becky Chambers' work. For the 4th book in this question, I also have the Spanish edition of The Song of Achilles, and my Spanish is not good enough to read historical fiction. I might give it a go one day, but for now it's not good enough. But I absolutely love this. I asked my in-laws to get this for me when they went to Spain because I think it's absolutely stunning. You've got like the raised Achilles helmet here. These little things are raised as well. There's nothing else much going on. You've got the, I don't know what you call that, little strap, and then inside it just looks like that. And I know that's kind of basic compared to the others with all the like sprayed edges and papers and all sorts, but I genuinely think this is beautiful. That's why I asked my in-laws to get this for me, even though I don't speak good enough Spanish to be able to read this. Maybe one day. The second question is, will you pay more to get the prettiest edition of a book? I won't unless I've already read the book. I am quite stingy with my money. I won't pay extra for a special edition unless I've either already read the book or I can find a really good deal on eBay, so I'm not spending any extra money. So for this, I think my in-laws paid like £15 for it, something like that. I can't see the price. Yeah, they bought that for me as a gift. For this edition, I am actually paying extra when I find them because I really want these on my shelves. I think they're stunning, but I have already read the books and I know that I love them. Same with this one, I found this on eBay. However, I think it was a really cheap deal because it's slightly damaged. It's not even that badly damaged, it's just this little end paper flap isn't stuck down properly. And so I got this a bit cheaper than I would have done buying it from Fairy Loot directly. And then this one, I think I paid like £7 for it, which is a really good deal. I don't think I would ever pay like hundreds of pounds for one book, for one thing, and I also wouldn't pay loads and loads of money for a book that I haven't read and loved. I'd much rather try it out first from either the library or with a cheaper copy. Question number 3 is make a Christmas book stack, colour or theme. For this, I've gone with all of the green-ish and red books that I have on my TBR shelf. I do actually have a few more, but I had way more red than green actually. I didn't have many green books at all. These are all TBR books that I would like to read at some point. I may have already read one of these by the time you're watching this video, because it is high on my TBR list. But here we have Killers of a Certain Age, 7 Eves, 3 Dahlias, Cage of Souls, Tsarina Wolfsong, The Sun Walks Down, and The Night Tiger. All books that I am very interested in reading. I did try to find some Christmas books, but I only own one physically, so couldn't put those onto a stack. Question number 4 is what is a book that makes you feel warm and cozy? And for this, I had to pick Lore Olympus. This is also a stunning edition, by the way. I love this series so much. I discovered it a couple of years ago and I caught up with the webtoon, and then I fell behind again because I wasn't keeping up with it weekly, and I've been buying all of the hardbacks because I just love this series and these characters so much. I didn't love this first volume. When I first read it, I was kind of like, I don't really understand the hype. And it's kind of creepy that Hades is so much older than Persephone, and the artwork didn't really print very well in this first edition. Since then, I have seen the light and I absolutely love this series. I love coming back to it. It's such an easy read and I love it so much. Question number 5 is what is the longest book you have read? And I genuinely think it might be Kingdom of Ash by Sarah J Maas. This book is nearly 1,000 pages long. Let me just see the exact. Yeah, it's 984. The pages are like Bible paper. It's so big, and I read this in like 24 hours because I was obsessed. I was actually going to choose House of Flame and Shadow because it looks bigger, but it's actually shorter than Kingdom of Ash, not that you can really tell. I really enjoyed this. I loved it. I do have some longer books on my shelves, but I haven't read them yet because they're huge. The only reason I read Kingdom of Ash so quickly was because I was really into the series, and still am. So it didn't really feel like I was reading 1,000 pages until afterwards, and then I realised like I hadn't really eaten properly for the entire day. The next question is what is the ugliest book you own? And I felt kind of bad about this because I couldn't really see any like properly ugly books. But I did find a few books on my shelf that had the old school YA covers that were like people on the cover and look, they don't look great. It's not my favourite style. I wanted to feature this book because I think it's really underrated. I haven't read it in about 11-12 years at this point, but this is like a parallel universe travel-y kind of book and I loved it when I first read it. It's only a duology and I don't think Elizabeth Norris has released any other books since, and I really wish she would because I remember loving these. But this cover is not great. It's not my favourite thing, and I think book covers have really come a long way and I am super glad that they have. I do obviously have like way more books in this kind of style on my shelf, but this is the first one that I saw and it's also a book that I wanted to feature and to tell you to read. Maybe I can reread this one at some point because I want to know if I still enjoy it, because I've been carting these books around with me every house move because I remember loving them, but I haven't read them in years. The next question is show a book that is set in winter or that has dark themes or gives you chills, and for this I've got a bunch of books that I would like to recommend. So starting off with probably the nicest one on this the least emotional, is The Last Bear. This is a middle grade book and it's the first in a duology, but I don't think you really need to carry on with the series after reading this one. This is about a girl whose father is employed to go and work on a snowy, icy island off the coast of Norway. This girl comes across a polar bear who shouldn't be on the island. They don't live there naturally. I was going to say grow there. And so she has to try to find out how to get him home. And it's just a really lovely book about the bonds with the bear and friendship and all of that, and also grief as well. The main character has lost her mother and the illustrations in this book are also stunning. I really like the illustrator that this author uses. I'm trying to find my favourite one. Like this, for example, it's just absolutely beautiful, I think. So that's that one. It's set on a snowy island. I also have The Great Alone by Kristen Hanna. This one is set in Alaska and it is set over winter for quite a lot of the book. This is my favourite Kristen Hanna book so far. It's absolutely beautiful. It's about a main character called Lenny, who is living with her parents in a small cabin in Alaska. Her father kind of shipped them up there for no good reason really, and so they're kind of outcasts in the town as well. They're not from Alaska, and her parents currently have a very volatile marriage, and so she, the main character, is only 13 and she's dealing with that, and it kind of turns into a story of survival, grief, trauma, PTSD, all of that. It's absolutely wonderful. I'd highly recommend it. It's very atmospheric as well. I also wanted to feature Moon of the Crusted Snow. This is post-apocalyptic, and this is set in a small village town in Canada, and it features a First Nations community, and they hear that something really bad has happened in the like outside world, but they're not really sure what has happened. They just know that there's like an apocalyptic winter happening, and then some outsiders show up and start causing havoc. And this is the first in a duology as well. I haven't read the second book yet, but I would really like to reread this one before I read the second, because this was such a good book. There is also One by One by Ruth Ware. This is set in a ski resort, I think in France, possibly Switzerland, and there's a bunch of people who are on a kind of work retreat, and it turns into a bit of a murder thriller. This is one of my favourite Ruth Ware books. It's very atmospheric. I still think about the ending to this one to this day. It's really, really good, and I'd highly recommend it. And then finally, I also wanted to feature Between Shades of Grey, which came out quite a few years ago now. This is historical fiction. It's about a 15-year-old girl called Lena, who during World War II is taken from her native home, I think in Lithuania, to Russia, and she has to survive. It's a very, very good book, very emotional. I absolutely loved it, and I'd highly, highly recommend it. And then the final question is, are there any books that feel like going home? And I do have 3 books for this as well. The first one being Good Girl's Guide to Murder, because it's literally set in my home county and I love it. The Secret Garden, this is one of the books I read in school and absolutely love it. It's still my all-time favourite classic, really, really good. And the final book is Queen of Shadows, because I have so many good memories related to this book. I read this as the books were still coming out, and my friends and I were all obsessed with these. We had so many like group chats going on, loads of theories. I also remember that someone did tell me off on Twitter for posting live reactions to this book, spoiler free, but they said that my reactions and my crying emojis were spoilers, which it does make me laugh now that I am a little bit older and I've realised what a silly statement that is. I loved the book community around this time when these first 4 books were coming out, this book in particular. Book blogs were still a thing and I was running mine regularly. The book community was a lot smaller and everyone knew each other. It was just such a nice time, so that's why I also picked this one. And that's it for the Cosy Christmas book tag. I will link the original video down below if anyone else wants to do this. I probably won't tag anyone because I don't know who's already done this. The tag has been out for a few years now. But if you would like to do it, then you can definitely say that I tagged you or where you found the video. Thanks so much for watching everyone, and I'll speak to you all in the next video. Bye!